Hi, I'm Tim Kahn,
I'm Nick Gidry.
I'm Lex Torres.
and we're Prototype Movie News to present to you a spoiler review on the Suicide Squad.
Get ready, folks. It's going to be interesting.
Now, seeing it again, Luis, what did you particularly think of it?
I still like it, that's for sure. I love the interactions between Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Joker, Killer Croc, and
They all had pretty good interactions.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
I love them, and I think the main problem I had is they made them anti-heroes. You know what I'm saying? Instead of letting them be villains and be bad guys, they had a happy ending. And even in the end, where Will Smith's character Deadshot says, "I gotta go back to my friends because I promised not to kill them." I'm like, really? You're supposed to be villains. You mutually respect each other,
Well, that's the thing about
but
Floyd
you're not
Lott,
friends.
though.
That's what I'm saying. But the villains in the movies or comic books, they're not friends. They respect each other, but they don't consider each other friends. And that's what I didn't kind of like about the movie, to where even in Enchantress at the end, she lived. I'm like,
Well, she didn't live.
well,
It was the
Professor Jim,
yeah.
who didn't die. I was like, it was a true villain movie.
She would have
She wouldn't
died.
die because it's not a happy ending. You
Yeah.
know, it would have been a sad ending, yes, but it followed the plot. It helped the plot along instead of happy ending, yay.
So basically, the big spoiler we didn't want to give away was who the villain
Oops.
was, and that's Enchantress.
Again, spoiler review up in the title. Read it.
Now, also, people are complaining about the Joker scenes like being very limited, and people complained about his performance. I still like the Joker, and I understand that. Still, this is not a Joker movie. This is a movie about the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Don't go into this movie expecting a lot of Joker material because it's not called the Joker movie. It's called the Suicide Squad.
Right. The more focus was more on the group rather
Right.
than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do that in a movie where there's a lot of people
When
in
there's
it.
6 other characters.
Right. But I mean, like, in Guardians of the Galaxy, any of the Avengers movies, like, you don't see a whole lot of
The villain.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's definitely more the characters' interaction with each other,
Right,
kind of a thing.
And whatever problems I have with the movie, I love the Joker. He was the gangster, the thug,
He was
the
more mob
mafia.
bossy than
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
seen.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
how you've seen it in Brian Azzarello's version of the Joker. There's this comic book where basically he acts as a thug. He's got gang wars with Two-Face
Right.
and Killer Croc. And the thing is that, you know, that Joker's kind of taking inspiration from the Dark Knight film, but here this film fits that persona perfectly.
His
And he has been a
outfits,
thug.
I love the outfits. They're
When
like
he
so
dresses up in
Joker.
a,
Yeah.
in a tux.
When he comes
He's-
into the research facility where they create the nanobombs, he had like the purple leather
yeah.
The
jacket.
crocodile-like leather, yeah.
He looked like a thug. He looked like a main mob boss that you don't want to mess around with. He looked incredible. Even I understand with the tattoos and everything, but he nailed who the Joker for this new DC universe is gonna be. A threatening character who does not mess around. Even in the club scene, you try to
Yeah.
mess with Harley,
Yeah.
fine, pop, you get shot in the head.
It shows
he
how
doesn't mess
unstable
around.
he is.
He was also more sadistic
Yes.
than
Kind of like the cartoon from the Joker.
right.
or the animated
Then
series.
especially Heath Ledger. I haven't seen
Mhm.
the Jack Nicholson Joker in a while. I mean, he was crazy too. But like the Heath Ledger Joker didn't kill people without a purpose. Like he didn't just cap a random guy in the street. I mean, he was ruthless. He was brutal when he
was
had to kill
chaotic.
people. But it all had a point. Like he was more of an anarchist,
Right.
whereas
Mhm.
Jared Leto's Joker is just like, yeah, you said something wrong and you,
Right.
bam,
Mhm.
like
Something he don't like, he will kill you.
yeah,
And
it-
that's terrifying.
yeah. So he was more of the psychotic, sadistic side of Joker.
Especially with Harley Quinn and that relationship,
Yeah.
abusive relationship. Some people may not think of it that way, but look at how the scene in Ace Chemicals was, and you will see how sadistic and abusive he was towards Harley
Yeah.
Quinn.
I thought he was gonna throw her off the ledge for half a second,
Yeah.
which definitely would
And,
have fit.
and it's sorry.
But
go for it.
I like that she jumped herself.
Mm-hmm.
Because then she chose to become Harley Quinn. It's not something that was forced on her.
I think that's why he said it. No, that's too easy.
Yeah.
But I love that because he also, it shows that he loves that he hates her, and he hates that he loves her in that scene. When he goes, he goes to jump after her.
Yeah, he almost walked away.
Right. He hates that he went back to her, but he loves that he hates her.
Yeah.
And that sick, twisted psychosis that he has for her, or he basically has.
Yeah, now, on to other things, like, just individual characters presented, like, there's actually a lot of deleted scenes in this film that you know, people are kind of going, that, I think that WB and David Ayer kind of, like, were in response to the whole Batman v Superman.
Definitely, it's the overcorrection that they did.
And the thing is like, I understand, maybe you had a good film at first, but really try to test it with audiences and see how it fares.
I think that's the problem because they actually did a screen test on Iowa, I think it was, or some other state. Don't get correct me if I'm wrong, but it showed the two movies. The cut that we saw, and a cut that we're never gonna see. I think that was David Ayers, and they didn't like either one. So I think it was a mixture of the two, more towards the happy fun. We're new DC. We're not emos all the time, and I think that's what messed up the movie because they didn't trust David Ayers' work, and he's an amazing director.
Yeah, that whole scene with Amanda Waller, like, kind of presenting, like, you know, who all of these, like, super villains are at first, was, the thing is, there was actually more, you know, these were actually supposed to be flashbacks of these characters looking in, like in their cells, like, you know, kind of pondering their life and basically what went wrong. And I mean, I guess that they could have probably, you know, stuck with that rather than just trying to, like, be all flashy and stuff.
A music video type.
It looked like a music video.
It was kind of jarring at first. It was hard to, like, get myself used to a song. 2 minutes without song, another song, 2 minutes without, and another song. It kind of threw me off. It sometimes didn't fit.
Without Me really didn't fit.
Right, some scenes didn't need the songs or the classic hit songs that we had. Just didn't need it sometimes. It was kind of jarring.
They had a lot of songs in there. I remember that.
They wanted to go Guardians of the Galaxy with this, sort of way. Using pop songs that people like and some people will not like too much.
Right.
I feel like this was kind of their answer to Guardians of the Galaxy.
It really was, because if you look at it, Guardians of the Galaxy is thieves, killers, smugglers, mercenaries put together for a mission. And that's what it was. That's what Suicide Squad was, which kind of failed, I think. It failed to deliver that kind of aspect, because the people, everybody loves the characters, not the movie itself.
Okay.
The movie has a lot of flaws, but the characters themselves don't. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going with that.
So, like, I think it goes back. They overcorrected a bit too much to try to put them in the path that DC needs to go for the movies to be successful. You know? And like I said before, if they were just kept it as a villains fighting villains and not having a heroic ending to them, it would have fit the story better.
It would have been a lot more tragic.
And you would have felt it more for the characters. Like when Diablo died, everybody felt it because he was a good character. They developed him well enough, and his ending was heroic enough, and you felt it. You were like, oh my god, no, he died.
Right.
You know? If they would have kept that thing going like they did in Arkham, Assault on Arkham, the DC animated film, it would have been perfect. Because people died all throughout the whole film. They
really did.
So basically the Slipknot character, you know, he kind of went like KG Beast did in Assault on Arkham.
He was a useless character.
Well, I mean, his power is he can climb anything. Like,
whoa.
Like, I mean, I can see how that's useful.
But not for the mission.
Like,
really?
Right.
Really? I guess he was useful in a way to show that they're not messing around. They will die if they don't follow the rules.
Right.
But oh my god, really?
But But the thing is, it was kind of a way to show like how the nanite bombs work. They advertised him as a character, but like
Right, and
it was a good twist for us. I thought it was.
I saw it coming, dude. I saw it coming because you never saw him in the actual trailers or
Yeah.
footage or on the clips.
I thought Rick Flag was gonna die because the thing is Rick Flag isn't essentially the leader in the New 52 team, but in Rebirth comics he is now.
Wasn't he originally the leader?
He was originally the leader in the original
Mhm,
team,
and
but
then,
when they
New
rebooted it,
52
it was
was-
Deadshot.
mhm.
Right.
And Deathstroke was actually in one issue, and then like the Russians gave him a deal. He's like, okay, you know what? Screw screw Task Force X. I'm out of this bitch. And
Yeah, that sounds
that's
right.
Deathstroke, yeah.
Dude, he was, but I think overall though, I liked it. It has problems. I loved it.
I really think that people who do like this film should definitely take a look into the Rebirth comics, because Rebirth is kind of going into that direction.
By the way, we're not sponsored by DC or anything,
No.
so don't
Don't take
us the wrong way.
Yeah, but check them out. They're good comics. So
We've so far talked about the negatives of the movie. What are some things that you did actually like about the film?
I was definitely not expecting Will Smith to rock Deadshot as much as he did.
Yes.
Because Will Smith is one of those actors that he
Hasn't brought it a lot.
well he doesn't he plays Will Smith
Yes.
and he
sure,
does that very
definitely.
well. But I mean all of his characters
Are Will Smith and not
Right.
the characters themselves.
right. Like he really hasn't lost himself in a role, at least for me. I mean he's good in like rom-coms and he has Independence Day, obviously.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit
Pursuit of Happiness,
Pursuit
like he
Kill.
can do the family dramas kind of a thing. But I mean he hasn't really like
7 pounds.
lost himself in a role, at least that I've seen. So I was actually surprised
Yes.
when
He immersed himself.
He wasn't Will Smith the superstar.
yes.
He was Will Smith the
As
actor.
Harley Quinn.
She was.
I
straight
loved
out of
her. She
Oh,
was
yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah, that was
She is Harley Quinn.
Although,
yeah.
Like I
although
said, take it out of the animated
you
series.
can see some scenes where they actually CGI'd her booty shorts to be a bit closer to where she was like bending over. But yeah, I loved it. But
guys, it's what we do.
I still loved her because she felt like out of the
Yeah.
cartoon series.
Yeah,
I mean she was
Or-
wacky, crazy.
She was like that suicidal girlfriend that you kind of want but don't really want at the same time.
And I knew a lot of people that were thinking that she was just gonna be like TNA.
The Hot Topic
Right.
thing.
Right, but
It fit though. It fit who she was.
It did fit, and
Yeah.
that's always been a part of Harley's character. Especially if you look at the Arkham games, like
Yes.
she was dressed so
Yeah.
much worse in the Arkham games.
Especially the
She was
Arkham
dressed like
City.
a nurse.
Yes,
Arkham City.
a
She was-
nurse. She was barely clothed some days.
She didn't have the
I-
Jester costume.
She
They had it in there
had like
for a split second when they were
Oh.
giving them the like equipment.
For like,
it
and
was,
also
like,
in the
shiny
Mad
and
Love
sequins.
sequence. In the Mad Love sequence, which was basically a
Shot of
node to Alex Ross's artwork. That was the one scene where you see her in the Jester suit. And
I think everybody like yes
nerdgasm right
Yeah.
there.
because that's an iconic figure. When like you were saying
Yeah.
when she took it out of her crate and you saw her like she went crazy for it. I was like, oh my god, please put it
They're
on.
saying there's a possibility she might have the Jester costume in the next Suicide Squad film.
I don't think they're gonna do a Suicide Squad. I think they're gonna go for her story or a
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey movie.
Which would be interesting.
I will want to see that movie.
Yeah.
But
Now-
you were saying that?
Well, they even took time out of the movie to show her as capable.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially with that elevator scene where the two goons break in and she beats them up. I mean,
And you could see who she was in that scene.
well, it showed that she was able to handle herself in a fight. She wasn't
Yeah.
here for the comedic relief. She wasn't here. Like, there's a reason they put her on this
Right.
Yeah.
force.
I
Like,
like
she
it because
can handle her.
in this movie showed her how she's still that psychiatrist. She's smart. She knows how to
Yeah.
read you and manipulate you to the very end from first meeting you.
Mhm.
And that showed that, and it was incredible that they actually kept that in the movie.
Yeah, definitely. I really liked her in the comics as well. She's a very versatile character. She's never wasted.
Crazy. No, she wasn't wasted in this movie at all.
Now moving on to El Diablo. Now Diablo is a character that appeared more in the volume 2 of the Suicide Squad when the New 52 relaunch happened, and he was in the earlier issues. Now I Now the thing is that I'm familiar with the character only because of the Suicide Squad comics, and I have to say, Diablo was friggin' fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of depth to this character. He felt guilty for what he did,
Yeah.
and the
wasn't
actor
that one
immersed
note.
himself.
He
Who's
wasn't
the
that-
actor?
Jay Hernandez.
Jay Hernandez.
I think that was his name, and I loved it because you were saying he immersed in who he was in the character, and also he wasn't one-sided character.
Right.
He was a three-dimensional character that you felt for him, even though he was a bad guy, a thug, but you also felt
Especially
for
when
him.
he got more of his backstory and he realized, like why he got caught was because he turned himself in, and he did it out of a sense of guilt and remorse, kind of a
I
thing.
think he was the humanizing. I think they try to
Right.
make him the humanizing element of the whole movie because again, all of them are
was.
evils.
I mean, he more so than any of the others was kind of looking for redemption.
Yeah.
Like Harley's too far gone; she doesn't even care anymore.
Right.
Deadshot's just kind of looking out for himself.
Right.
But there was that moment when they were getting suited up, and he had the mask on, and Harley asked him like why he was hesitating. He said it's because when he puts the mask on,
Everybody
people
dies.
die, but he likes putting it on. Like Deadshot's not looking for redemption. He likes being who he is. Kind
The
of
only
a thing.
reason he's human still is because
Like
of
his daughter is. He feels bad about who he is because of his daughter, and she's the only thing in his life that makes him feel bad for who he is.
And
kind
he
of
doesn't. I don't think he likes that at all.
No.
And basically, Killer Croc has been outcasted because he's had a skin deformity. So the thing is like, he's going to immerse himself into a life of crime and be a thug. And it would have been interesting to see more of his backstory. He's got a very interesting backstory.
I feel like it would have.
He wasn't played
He
well.
wasn't quite the same. It wasn't
People
quite a
complain
skin
about the-
deformity because he had like the
He had the
fisheye,
which I like though. I like the
Yeah.
the croc eye vision or whatever it was, and
right.
how he moved too. Like he brought like that crocodile alligator feel and look to
Especially
him.
underwater. He
Yeah,
was-
the movement
yeah.
was spot on, and I like
So
that.
they made it. It wasn't like quite a skin deformity. It was more like
Indication.
yeah, because they said like evolution took when they were introducing him. They said evolution took a step backwards, but they
Right.
never
Oh, they explained
expanded
further.
on that.
Right.
Right.
They never, and also, people complain he's speaking in Ebonics, and that's actually
Who
happened.
cares?
I don't really care
Who
about
cares?
that. I kind of like the fact that,
It's a diverse cast.
it's
Who
diverse
cares?
cast, and
Well, I actually really felt for him when they were recruiting him,
mhm.
and Rick Flag comes up to the cell, and Killer Croc is.
Aren't you scared?
Yeah, he's almost
Yeah.
surprised that Rick Flag isn't scared, and he asked him what he did to get put there, and Killer Croc said he asked for it.
Right.
So I feel like there was a lot more
To him.
to that,
But they never expanded upon it.
which
though.
I'm okay with because then they can expand upon it later.
If they make another.
If they
Suicide
make
Squad.
another one,
If, I
true,
hope.
true. But you could get the sense of like he knows he's gonna be hunted, so he kind of
Became the hunter.
he put himself in a cage, kind of a thing.
Okay, yeah.
Like the others, were caught, they were captured,
Right.
or I mean, like Diablo felt like he needed to be punished. Killer Croc kind of put himself in a cage just so he would stop being hunted,
Right.
kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we don't know if he has killed people or what he. I mean, he probably has.
He probably has.
But
They actually showed him killing some of the guards.
right. So I mean, he probably has. But like, it was more. He was isolating himself, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of common things with a lot of the characters too.
And
What do you think of
Katana.
Katana? A wasted character, though, from my opinion, because she didn't feel as cohesive as some of the other characters.
She wasn't meant to be though.
Right. I think
Because she wasn't really a villain. Like when she joined, Rick Flag said that she was there to guard him,
Right.
have his back. So she was kind of a secondary, like right hand to him.
Now, if you guys have seen the TV show Arrow, you know that Tatsu, who plays Tatsu, who is Katana, has a really tragic backstory when her husband was part of the League of Assassins and she had to kill him. And the thing is that they allude to the fact that, you know, she is, that her husband's soul is within the sword. And
But that's the thing, that's what I'm saying.
We don't know
She
too
wasn't used because that's the most powerful, one of the most powerful weapons in the DC universe, in the comic books at least.
it can...
And it wasn't used well at all. She's a powerful entity with a katana, and she wasn't utilized.
Yeah.
She was
bits?
more looking for revenge. Than
Right. She wasn't. And it wasn't even clear why she was there at the beginning until later on.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. She felt kind of. She didn't fit the story well.
Yeah.
She was just added later on.
Basically, how we feel about Enchantress was... I feel that, honestly, she was underdeveloped. Really, there was...
Yeah.
I mean, basically, she was like some of the Marvel, like, you know, villains who
I think of
have
her
no
as
development.
close, like Ronin.
Yeah, Ronin was
I mean, he didn't
horrendous.
have any, like, I mean, his plan was he wanted the Infinity Stone, he was
From
going to
Guardians
go
of
It
the
wasn't
Galaxy.
clear what her plan was.
But, well,
Like in that, I think that's the main part that didn't do well in X-Men Days, Age of Apocalypse, where you didn't understand why Apocalypse wanted to destroy the world after destroying it. Same thing happened here. It wasn't clear why it happened.
They never came out and said it, but what I took it as is that they were using her basically as an attack dog.
Right.
And, they had control over her, and they were, you do what we say kind of a thing. So when she got free, I took it as she wanted revenge. Which is, I mean, if you gave any of the characters in Suicide Squad a chance to, like, hit Amanda Waller back, they're gonna take it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, she is arguably...
They have taken it.
Yeah, she is arguably, I think, one of the most evil characters in the DC universe.
I think in
Like,
the end, it was stated that she is the evil person of the whole
right,
movie.
right, because she...
You a gangster.
Yeah, yeah. So, that's what I took it as. So, I compare her closely to Ronin, and he wasn't really developed in Guardians of the Galaxy
Right.
No.
because the focus wasn't on him. It was on the
characters.
character dynamics and their interactions
That's
kind
what
of thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it failed as a movie, but it successfully did what a lot of Marvel movies can't do. It had developed a great villain. Granted, there were more anti-heroes in this movie, but still, it was more about the characters and less about the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. It was more showing the characters off.
For more future movies instead of
Right.
this movie to help out establish the DC universe.
Gotcha.
Now, overall, what do you guys give this film after you've taken some thought? Aside from us seeing that, you know, me and Luis's opinion have probably changed a little bit compared to the last review. I'll admit, I give this film a C+.
You give it a B, sir.
I give it a C now, C+.
Okay, now you give it a C+.
But I guess, you know, looking at it now, there are a lot of flaws, but still, I can enjoy it.
Yeah,
I
for
like
sure.
it as a popcorn flick.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think?
I think it was as good as any of the Marvel movies.
Ooh,
Because
that's bold.
that is bold, but if you
That's
think
bold.
about it, not a lot of Marvel movies are heavy on plot.
Yes, for sure.
I mean,
Marvel
Civil
boys.
War is the exception.
I think Civil War and then Captain America: Winter Soldier have been the most heavy
plot-driven
movies.
For sure.
But I mean, like, Thor. It's showing off Thor.
But it needed to.
Right, it was an introduction, and then it was just showing them off.
Yeah, for sure.
Guardians of the Galaxy was definitely focused more on their dynamics rather than the actual plot of the movie.
Right.
Most of, like, the Avengers, again, focused on the character dynamics rather than, like, Loki, I'm gonna take over the world. Like, that was about his motivation.
Right.
So...
He was the king, he wanted to be king, whatever.
Right.
And he didn't feel it.
Right. So it
It
did the same kind of thing.
But it failed at it though, kinda. Where those movies that you were saying did it in a more successful way. Suicide Squad kinda failed and fell off trying to do it.
Right, and I wouldn't compare it to, say, the bigger ones like Avengers
Okay.
or Civil War, where we've had years and years and years and years of build-up and like layers to the characters through all these various movies. But I mean, like, Ant-Man, like, it's at least as good as Ant-Man.
Yeah, I give you that one.
Guardians
So
of
comments?
the Galaxy,
Yes.
it's at least as good as
At
Guardians.
least
Yes,
as good as
guys.
Iron Man 3, if anything. Or maybe
Better
even
than
better.
Iron Man 2, for sure.
Better than Iron Man 2 for sure, and I think a little better than Iron Man 3. As you guys know, I don't really like Iron Man 3 that much. It was an underwhelming film for me.
Yeah.
What do you think, Luis? What do you think about this film?
After thinking about it and watching it 3 times, yes, 3 times, I love the movie. I have to say this. For me, right now, this Suicide Squad is the top best movie that DC Universe has given us so far. And then next will be Man of Steel, and then finally
Hopefully
Batman
Wonder
vs.
Woman.
Superman. But
Will be good.
aside from other problems that I have with it, I still enjoy the movie. It's still a good film to watch. It's fun. There's good character development between each of the characters. You feel for the characters, even though you shouldn't feel for the characters, but it's done. Amanda Waller's a big bitch.
Oh, she is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah.
But I loved it. I had fun with it. I took my sister, and she loved it. She doesn't know a whole lot about comic book
I
movies.
feel like you really
She
didn't
loved-
have to.
Right,
Yeah.
and they accomplished
And
that
I'm
in
okay
the
with
back.
that.
You just
Yeah.
had to have fun with the
Mhm.
movie.
Right.
And I think they accomplished that really well. So I have to give it a C, a middle of the ground C. It's not the worst. It's not the best. You passed. You're an average movie. You're good. Keep going. Do better next movie.
I mean, I'll tell you the truth. This film does not deserve, like, the hate it gets on Rotten Tomatoes. But come on, this is Rotten Tomatoes that gave
Right.
Ghostbusters the remake a 73%. Are you out of your mind?
At this point, I think they just hate it because it's a DC movie.
I
Yeah.
think that's the feel.
If
of
this
it.
was a Marvel movie, I think they would have had a lot more sympathy for
You're not
it,
paying their
and they
credit.
would have let it.
Yeah.
It's an aggregator. Get that, internet.
There are a lot of bad
Aggregator.
reviews.
There are a lot of bad reviews, but they're not paying the critics to do it. Hell, Warner Brothers owns Rotten Tomatoes.
Do they really?
Yes, they bought it recently, and it's owned by Warner Brothers.
Huh.
And so it's under the Warner Brothers banner, and they own it, and they don't have a problem with it because they're being honest, and so they don't pay the critics. So yes, some of the critics are stubborn and old, maybe. Meh. Sorry.
Okay.
But it is what it is. You cannot blame them for giving their own opinions, even if they give crappy ones.
Okay, guys, this is basically our whole review on the Suicide Squad. Please, like, share, and subscribe the video, and
You can find us in our Twitter and Facebook. You can comment at
down below.
Down below will be our
Basically, like, all our information,
Will be
our
down
serial
below.
number,
Thank
our
you.
rank serial number, and everything like that. And we'll see you next time. Hopefully, we'll have a really awesome film to present
give
to
you.
you.
All right, bye, internet.
Have a good night.
Live long and prosper. Bye.
May the force be with you.